Hey, before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Enjoy.
Chapter 1. How It All Began. Fall of 99. Yeah, whatever, motherfucker. Next time I see your fat ass, it's gonna be you and me, bitch. Spice shouted as a short Asian man jumped up from his seat to help Velvet and I hold our cousin back before things got out of hand between her and the thick chick she was on the bus arguing with. Apparently, they had both been messing around with the same guy, and once things became physical, the bus driver pulled over and forced the three of us off while Thickum stayed on, steadily talking shit from the window. You just couldn't keep your mouth shut. You just had to provoke her, didn't you? Now we gotta sit here and wait for the next bus and we're already late for school as it is. This is ridiculous, Velvet said as we stood in front of an auto shop on International Boulevard. No, what's ridiculous is how your scary ass just sat there while that fat beast tried to attack me. And for your information, I'm not the one who provoked her. That bitch jumped in my face first. That's why her fat ass is sitting on that motherfucker bleeding. And if you keep on talking, you gonna be next. Spice snapped back as I grabbed her arm, forcing her to walk away so that her overly hyped ass wouldn't jump on Velvet. Where are you going? Don't we have to wait for the bus? My simple-minded cousin asked, noticing that we were about to cross the street. You can stand there and wait for the next bus all you want to, but we're about to go get something to eat because I'm hungry. Once we got to the taco truck by the lake, we gave the cook our orders and stepped to the side and waited for our tacos and burritos to be made. Hey, Nick, isn't that your boo's baby mama? Velvet tapped my arm and asked as I knelt down and tried to wipe the scuff mark off my brand new Adidas. What are you talking about? I ain't seen nobody with kids. You must have me confused with this hoe over here, I said, playfully teasing my other cousin Spice since she had just started to calm down. Shut up, Heifer. She's talking about Rico. That girl over there getting her flirt on looks a lot like his baby mama. I stood up and looked in the direction they were talking about, and sure enough, there was Tanisha, leaning against the car, talking to some guy. So what? That ain't none of my business. I shrugged my shoulders and said, not really caring too much about what that girl was over there doing. All I was really trying to figure out was why she had all three of her kids outside in the middle of October, with no coats on, knowing damn well it was cold. Peanut said she was trifling, but damn, I didn't think she was stupid. That dude she's talking to is Patrick Jenkins. He lives over there in the Acorns, and I'm guessing that old boy in the passenger seat is his ugly ass cousin Darius. They're like Sly and Rico's #1 enemy, and if she don't know that, then she's dumb as hell. Spice told me as I took another glance in Tanisha's direction and saw that there was indeed another guy sitting in the car. How do you know if she's even flirting with him? That could just be her cousin or something, Velvet said. Please. That hoe's flirting her ass off, trust me, I know. Yes, because all hoes can easily spot a fellow hoe. Very funny, but seriously though, you need to tell your boy that his so-called wifey ain't as loyal as he thinks, especially if she's over there talking to PJ. I thought about what Spice said and wondered if in fact Tanisha was trying to set Rico up, or if she was just harmlessly flirting with old boy without even realizing who he was. It didn't look good either way, and I for sure wasn't about to get myself involved in that mess. So I just turned my head and proceeded to mind my business, hoping that Tanisha wouldn't look this way and notice me, but it was too late. Jay, baby, is that you? She turned around and shouted with a smirk on her face after old boy noticed Velvet looking and pointing in their direction, after Spice and I repeatedly told her to stop staring so hard. Shit, here we go. I mumbled to myself as she quickly started to walk over to us, pushing her youngest in the stroller as the other two toddlers followed behind. Girl, am I glad I ran into you this morning, Tanisha said in an overly excited tone, with a wide grin on her face, which let me know that she was up to something. Hey, Tanisha, how you doing? I asked as I knelt down and gave both her son and daughter a hug. Not so good. I'm actually kind of in a bind and was wondering if you could do me a favor. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I didn't really know this chick all like that to be doing her any type of favors. The only times I would ever really see or interact with her was at one of my cousin's little functions, and that was about it. Her baby daddy was the one that I was cool with, being that he's one of my brother's best friends. I'd do a favor for him before I drop everything for her, and that's real. Can you watch the kids for me while I go and handle something real quick? Spice let out a fake cough, masking the words, "Don't trust this hoe," as she stepped away from us and walked over to the truck to check on our orders. See, I would, but I'm on my way to school right now. I could probably do it later when I get out. I tried to tell her, but Tanisha acted like she wasn't trying to hear it. No, girl, I can't wait that long. It has to be right now. For somebody who ain't got no job, she always had somewhere to be. I didn't have that much of a problem babysitting since I've done it before as a favor to Rico. My problem was with Tanisha and how she's been acting over the last few months, begging me to watch her kids whenever Rico wasn't around, which I thought was a little strange, especially since she never wanted me to tell him. Plus, she don't ever pay me enough for my time, which is hella irritating as it is. But the thing that bothered me the most about her was the fact that she would always pick a random ass time to ask me, like right now. I don't know, Tanisha. The last couple of times you needed me to babysit, your man was hella mad because you didn't let him know. Listen, it's only for a couple of hours. I have to go somewhere really important, and I promise I won't be gone for that long. Well, where is it that you need to go? Tanisha, girl, come on. We ain't got all day. The guy she was over there talking with shouted as he got in the car and immediately honked the horn at her. Who's that? I asked, looking in his direction. Oh, that's just my cousin PJ. My aunt is in the hospital and I need to go see what's going on. There's no room in the car and I won't be able to concentrate with the kids there. Please, just do this for me. Rico is out of town and won't be back for a couple more days, so he won't even trip about you being in the house, she assured me. Tanisha, The guy honked the horn again, making her even more anxious than before. I can't watch them for you, Tanisha. Listen, here's $10 and the house key. Just get them something to eat and let yourself in, she said, shoving the money and keys into my hands. But Tanisha, I can't. Look, I'll be back in a couple of hours, okay? I promise. Tanisha, wait, I shouted as she ran back over to the car. Thank you, girl. I owe you one, she said, hopping in the back seat with a huge grin on her face as old boy drove off before I could even get another word in. Fuck! I shook my head and sighed as I grabbed a hold of the stroller and walked over to the truck to order some quesadillas for the kids. I'm pretty sure she'll be right back, Nikki. I mean, it's not a big deal. She said her aunt was in the hospital. I was already irritated, so the last thing I wanted to hear was Velvet's gullible ass telling me not to trip because once again Tanisha had suckered me into watching her kids while her ass ran off with her friends or whoever the hell was in that car. Her baby's father had told her about that shit before. He already didn't like people all up in his house, and he for damn sure didn't trust anybody around his children. After the kids' food was made, Spice and Velvet walked with me to the apartment that sat on a quiet street off Lakeshore Avenue. You sure you don't want us to come up with you? Spice asked once we got outside the building. No, it's cool. Besides, you know Rico don't like a whole lot of people up in his spot. As my cousins said their goodbyes and headed off to school, the little ones and I walked into the building and made our way up to the fourth floor. Once I got to the apartment, I stuck the key in the door and walked in to see that the place was a mess. There was toys and clothes all over the living room, and more than a few dirty diapers in the corner. As soon as I closed the door and walked past the kitchen, a sour smell hit my nose, which was more than likely coming from the sink full of dirty dishes. I shook my head in disgust as I took the 9-month-old out of the stroller and laid him on the couch to change his wet diaper, while his older brother and sister sat at the table eating their food. She better come back soon, I thought to myself as I started to pick up a few things off the floor. I know I didn't really feel like going to school today, but this was not how I planned on spending my morning. My nosy ass just had to look her way. If I would have stood on the other side of the truck, she probably wouldn't have even seen me. This whole babysitting thing started last September when I saw her pregnant ass struggling to get on the bus with a bunch of grocery bags while trying to get a handle on the two toddlers. It was a busy Tuesday afternoon. The bus was crowded, and since nobody else even bothered to help her out, I gave up my seat to do so. Once we got to her stop, I helped her off the bus and carried some bags up to the apartment. When she realized that she had forgot to get a few things, she asked me to stay and watch the two little ones while she went back to the store. I guess she felt comfortable with me watching her kids because after that, she started calling me on the regular to babysit whenever she had an appointment or if Rico had a court date that she was trying to attend. I didn't mind helping her out every once in a while, but then things began to change after she had the third baby. She started acting different, calling me every other day, claiming she needed help, which I didn't have a problem doing, but after a while, her attitude became shitty, and my patience with her started running thin. It was like she couldn't stay home for more than a few hours with her own kids. The last time I was over here was about 3 weeks ago. She had saw me at the lake cutting class and told me that she had a doctor's appointment and asked if I could watch the kids until she got back. She claimed that her appointment was in the afternoon, but that hoe didn't come back until 10 o'clock that night, which was around the same time that Rico came home. She better not pull that shit again. I found myself saying out loud as I sat there on the couch, eating my burrito while watching cartoons with the little ones. Spice. Velvet and I got to school a little after 9 a.m. and eased our way into the hall just as the bell rang, letting everyone out of their second period classes. I figured that since there wasn't a security guard at the gate, we were in the clear and could go on with the rest of our day without any more problems. But I knew that probably wouldn't happen since my two favorite entities, drama and karma, always had a way of showing up when I least expected it. "Where the hell you been, Keisha, and why you wasn't in class?" Ebony shouted from across the hall with a huge grin plastered on her round chocolate brown face. "So much for not wanting to be seen," my cousin mumbled as we walked over to Ebony, who for some reason felt the need to broadcast my whereabouts to everyone, including the assistant principal that was standing about 3 feet away, talking to one of the other teachers. The last thing I wanted to do was get Miss Clarkston's attention, but thanks to this big mouth heifer, it was already too late. "Miss Simmons, is there a reason why you and your friends are lollygagging in my hallway? Shouldn't you be getting to class? Or would you prefer to spend the rest of your day in OCS for letting that little attitude of yours be your downfall?" She walked towards me and said, "We were just heading to class now, Miss Clarkston." Velvet quickly responded before I even had a chance to let the words I was thinking of leave my lips and get us in even more trouble than we already were. "Well, then I suggest you hurry up, because if the three of you are not in class when the bell rings, you will be suspended until you figure out that school is where you actually need to be." I shot her a fake smile, then rolled my eyes, mimicking her stuck-up ass as she turned to walk away. "Damn, girl, I'm sorry for busting you out like that. I didn't even see her standing there," Ebony said once she was out of earshot. "It's whatever. Don't worry about it. Just tell me what we gotta do for homework in Mr. Lester's class," I said, changing the subject. "Shit, I don't know. I wasn't in there that long to find out." Why'd I even bother asking? Her ass never paid attention in class and was always late her damn self. Hell, sometimes I wondered how she even made it this far in the first place, 'cause we all know she got held back twice in the first grade. So anyway, where's Nikki at? I need to copy her homework for Miss Barkley's class. "Something came up, so she ain't gonna make it today," I told her as we began to walk up the stairs. "What happened?" Ebony grabbed my arm and asked as if my tone sounded a bit alarming. I looked back at her like she was crazy and pulled away from her grip. "Nothing happened. She's just not going to be here today. That's all." She sucked her teeth and rolled her eyes like she was irritated by my response, then ran her fingers through her multicolored braids and sighed deeply. "Well, have you at least seen Kez? I need to talk to her about something important." "How are we supposed to know where Kez is when you know we just got here less than 2 minutes ago?" Velvet rolled her eyes and said, You got one more time to say something stupid to me. Ebony, why don't you go find Trish and ask her? I'm pretty sure she would know since that is her sister. I said, just to keep the peace between these two, since they clearly couldn't stand each other for reasons I could care less about. No, I don't want to be seen talking to that hoe. Do you know what that will do to my reputation? Ebony said with disgust in her voice, as if she was appalled that I would even suggest that. Confirm what everyone else already knows about you? Ebony looked at Velvet with much disdain, and I couldn't help but laugh because even she knew it was true. As much as she loved gossiping about everyone else, she hated when someone called her out on her own shit, especially my cousin Velvet. Whatever, Ebony said, rolling her eyes at Velvet before she continued. Look, Spice, I'll see you later, okay? And make sure you leave your shadow behind, she said before walking away towards her class. Why are you even friends with her? Velvet asked me once we got to my locker. Who, Kez? I asked, pretending not to know who or what she was talking about. No, Ebony. Every time she comes around, your whole mood changes. That's probably because every time she comes around, you get a damn attitude. I mean, yes, there are times when she gets on my nerves, but other than that, we're cool. I don't know why you can't be too. Y'all was just friends a few months ago, and now all of a sudden everything's changed. What's up with that? I said, grabbing the books that I needed from my next two classes out of my locker. I just don't like her, that's all. There's something about her that I don't trust. It's like she has a hidden agenda or something. I laughed and shook my head. Velvet, you don't trust anybody. Well, obviously you don't either. Why didn't you just tell her that Nikki is over at Rico's babysitting? She folded her arms across her chest and asked. I rolled my eyes, realizing that she wasn't going to let up until I gave her an answer. So I closed my locker and said, because it's none of her damn business. And besides, if I told her that, then she'd jump to conclusions and think that Nikki was sleeping with him. Why would she think that? They're barely ever around each other. Hell, the only times I've ever seen them standing next to each other and talking is when he's over at your house. Wait a minute. Rico does give her money every time she asks for it. Is she sleeping with him? What? Come on now, Velvet. You of all people should know that that's not even happening. Look, ever since Blue got locked up, Rico's been looking out for Nikki, which is why he always gives her money. You and I both know that has nothing to do with sex, I told her as we headed down the hall. So then why are you keeping secrets from someone you claim is your best friend? For the same reason why it took Nikki hella long to tell you about her and Tony. Wait, what are you talking about? Nothing. I didn't say anything, I quickly said, realizing that she still didn't know that the guy that she had been crushing on for the past 2 years had been dating Nikki for a couple of months now. Spice, what's going on? Why didn't she tell me? By now, she was in full panic mode, and I started to understand why Nikki hadn't told her yet. Velvet, it's not that serious, so just go to class, okay? I said just as the bell rung, while trying my hardest not to laugh as I walked into my classroom. Keisha, stop playing and tell me what's going on between Nikki and Tony.